This week we escape to GameScape while we wait for Five Nights at Freddy's to hit the big screen. Did you hear that IndieBox and Humble Bundle had a baby? Spatial out while we CrossCode the Circle of Fifths. Sheik is here to put a spell on us. It's episode 46 of Indie Game Riot. Indie Game Riot! Hey everybody, it's JaShinYa, and yes, this is episode 46. And you know what happens on episode 46? What happens?
We talk about some awesome games.
That's
just
later.
Like the other 45 episodes.
Well, when you say it like that, it just sounds repetitive.
Whatever.
You're a bastard.
Whatever.
Hey, you know what? Speaking of bastards, bastards should tell us what's been going on in their lives. Don't ask me what bastards and life updates have to do with each other, but you know. Oh, by the way, before I do that, actually, shut up.
Before you do that,
before I do that, we have a special. First of all, Rev is dead. We have a second. We have another person here who goes by the handle ChicMonster. We just call her Chic, and she is the developer of a game called, or one of the developers, I should say, Charmixy. And she's also going to stay for the whole show, so we're going to let her talk about herself. For those of you in the live chat, you might notice that she does not actually have a webcam. She doesn't want to use webcam. That's fine. So, as you notice, she has this beautiful avatar that I'm assuming you've drawn.
Yeah.
That she has drawn. And besides, the real reason she's on a webcam is that when her heavenly face appears to other people, it has much the same effect as the Ark of the Covenant. And it's just wouldn't be good for our audience.
Melts a lot. It just melts people's faces off.
Yeah.
So actually, I like the show. I don't want to ruin your viewership like that. You know?
yeah, exactly. So the show probably wouldn't do well with dead hosts either.
This is also true.
Yeah. So as good host, we'll actually let you go first. What's been going on with you other than Charmixy?
Oh God. Well, it's really been dominating everything that I've been doing. We've just kind of been not sleeping a lot and just working on the game. And I have a press list right now of God only knows. I'm chalking it up to about 200 people right now that I'm going to be emailing tomorrow.
I thought we were exclusive, Sheik.
Yeah.
Exclusive until tomorrow.
Yeah.
When the mass emails start dropping.
Oh.
Yeah. No, I found another press site. I'm sorry you had to find out this way. No,
on our own live show.
Yeah.
You could have just texted.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's been really crazy because we're starting to fall behind on pledges. Although we still totally have a chance to make it. I think it's just going to take a lot of work. So it's just been me and my programmer, and we've been trying to bust out this alpha. I mean, as soon as the show is done, we're going to get right back to work on it. So that's really been it. You know, I can't really say much more. Right. Because there is nothing else.
Gotcha.
Fair enough. Your life is currently a boring hell or something. I'm just kidding.
I wouldn't call it boring. I would say it was a hell.
Okay.
Maybe like living.
Living hell. Yeah. Living hell. Good. I have not heard that expression before.
Yeah.
It just came to me.
Tech.
So.
No one cares. My turn.
I got really frustrated today because a little backstory before I get into this specifically. Two of the managers that work...
Because we all love exposition.
Exactly. That I work with and my beautiful girlfriend, Jessie, are... We're starting a D&D campaign because they haven't played D&D 3.5, and I love D&D 3.5.
How come I wasn't invited?
It's because you're not here to be in person.
That's
weird. And so I was teaching Jessie the very basics of character creation and stuff, and because that's really like a lot of there's a relatively high learning curve when getting into D&D, and so I broke out my dice and we rolled her character sheet and I talked her through everything and we had a really great time. And I ran her through some, scenarios, 2 nights ago, and she was having a great time. And we were looking at some of the dice that I have, and I picked up this one from
is that every game there's one die. There's
right.
one die that's just an asshole. It's
okay.
I call it the dick die.
Yeah.
And it always screws you over at the best possible moments.
This one isn't. I don't know. I haven't played a game with this one yet, but I got this one last year at Origins Game Fair in one of those like big buckets of dice, and it's so cool because it's like, oh yeah, it's like a bloodstained die, and I'll let you guys see that a little bit closer. Is
that what that's supposed to be? I thought it was just half red, half.
Well, no, like look, it's all like speckled and bloody, and then the natural 1 is in red, and then a nat 20 is in white, and it's so cool. It's so cool that you'd think it'd be deliberate. And so last night, Jesse and I looked online. We're like, we have to find the set because this would be a really cool set to have. This like white set, like blood stained. And we couldn't find it. And I looked on some collector sites, and I couldn't find it there. And then I went to Reddit, and they were like, might be this. And then I went on Imager because I hosted the images on Imager, and they were like, oh, well, if you find out, let me know because I want to buy a set. And then I emailed Cheezix, which is a company that makes a bunch of dye, and they were just like, yeah, that's a factory second. Basically, when 2 colors are between the dye, they make that dye, and we put those into the big grab bags of the ugly colors. So yeah, no. And I'm so angry.
Well, that means you've got one of a kind.
I do. Not only do I have one of a kind, but I really want to start like producing dice like this because there's obviously a market for it. Because like the big market of dice
there's
now.
A market for it because only one person has ever bought that die.
The big thing with dice now is like really intricate designs and easy to read stuff, but like nobody ever thinks of like colors like this. Like these colors are cool, and if you can recreate that like effectively on a die, I think that I think it would be a really well selling set. But so if anyone listening knows how to do that,
you should
steal the idea.
Yeah, steal the idea. Except you won't because copyright.
Yeah, it's recorded.
Yeah,
proof.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be that bad. They'd do all the work, and then you just buy one of the dice. So there you
go.
I would let them have it.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's true. They're like, hey, you guys stole my idea, so free dice for life?
Yeah, that's a good deal.
What are you going to do with all that dice?
Hey, man.
Feed them to your dog?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It's the principle.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be the most epic. That would be the most epic D&D roll.
I have a house.
You pick up your dog.
Dice.
You pick up your dog and you squeeze it, and it poops out in that 20.
And you have to like wipe it off and be like, okay, that.
Oh god,
that's a 4.
Oh,
all right,
god.
Bad dog, bad. Go sit in the corner.
Oh god.
So,
Josh, other than animal abuse, which didn't actually happen, what have you been up to this week?
Someone's gonna. Yeah, I'm not gonna say it. Never mind. I did nothing, which is sad because my birthday happened.
Oh,
what'd you do?
Happy
that was
birthday.
depressing.
Sorry.
Nothing.
Well, what happened is, first of all, my birthday was the 6th. Easter was the 5th. So what my family likes to do is mash it together when holidays and things like that are close. Like my wife's, her birthday is in December, so her birthday gets mashed in with Christmas. And it's kind of like, really? Like, happy birthday, me. Jesus died. So I don't know, and then I got some money, which is always cool, but that's about it.
Yeah. Okay.
I ate shrimp, which actually was pretty good.
Shrimp are good.
Shrimp was good.
You know what else are shrimp? I mean, good.
What else is shrimp, Tech?
An Indie News Injection.
Are you bored with the same old games?
Yeah.
Why, then give yourself an Indie News Injection.
Thanks, Indie Games.
And this week on Indie News Injection, we start out with something for you Baltimore residents or anybody living in the Maryland, D.C. area. We have GameScape. What was that?
That's you.
It is me. Yes, I live outside of Baltimore. in a different town completely, which is good. So GameScape is a big showcase where they show a lot of creative games and the people behind it. You can browse and interact with a bunch of with certain games by both local and international developers. It is from July 17th to the 19th, 2015, obviously. And it is on North Charles Street, 1727. You can check the link in the description of the video or search GameScape on Google and you will find out more information. Excuse me.
Will I?
They've got games like Dungeon Dive or X-Zipit, Intercube.
Like Exhibit as in like the rapper?
No, it's X.
Does anyone know who he is anymore?
Yeah,
I've heard of him.
You got a lot of single game developers showcasing games here. And
not married ones. I don't know why I'm doing this. Go ahead. I keep saying stupid shit, and it's verbal diarrhea. Go ahead.
There's also going to be some bands and a marketplace and stuff for you to check out. There's still a lot more information that will be coming out of the woodwork, but make sure to check it out. You can find it out at www.artscape.org. It's in there. It's under the visual arts tab.
So is this like
GameScape?
Is Artscape just a general thing, and then they have like exhibits, kind of like the Seattle EMP Museum?
Yes, that's basically it. Yeah.
All right.
Exhibit.
Yeah.
Pimp My Ride. That's where he's from.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I recognize. Okay.
I like how he's not known for his rap. Did you know, by the way, that he rap battled Tom Green? Does anyone know who Tom Green is?
Is he the ADHD guy from Clone High?
What? I don't know. Wait, did we transition yet?
No.
Oh. We're still in the show. I just went into it, and in between.
Now you have to.
For those you listening,
it's my thing again.
For those you listening to the recorded version, you just got a glimpse of what you'll taste.
In the live show.
In the live show. So
hitbox.tv/JaShinYa. Anyway, speaking of things that shouldn't even really matter. Five Nights at Freddy's, the game series, the game trilogy currently that has been storming YouTube Let's Players and fans alike, is getting their own movie. Why? I don't know.
What? Wait, no. I mean, first of all, think about it. I mean, it's a horror movie. And,
right.
So there's that. Horror movies in general, even the bad ones, are just, they're fun.
Yeah.
And they're easy to make.
Right.
But the thing is, first of all, this is based off of this is based off a real story, a whole Chuck E. Cheese shooting spree that happened. That's what this is based off of.
Was it really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yep. And it happened in the 90s. And then the other thing is, this guy, even though the game in itself, a lot of people are like, oh, it's just cheap jump scares all the time. Jump scares. There's not even really much going on. When you dig into it, I mean, all the theories, if you even watch a game theorist, I'm sure you've seen the video. The game in itself, the backstory behind it is so deep and complex that I think, and he is being brought in to help with the movie as far as that goes, like his writing skills. So I think that will be what makes this a movie to watch.
Wait, they're getting the game theorists to write the script?
No. The guy who created the Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I mean, they would.
They could just buy the rights from him. You know what I mean? But they're actually having him work on it.
Can I just bring my skepticism? It has to be at least once an episode at this point. Like, really? Come on. Like, I mean, I get it. I get it. It's like, it's a game that's popular, money.
I don't even like the game that much. I mean, as far as just
I don't
game
like the
goes,
game either. But
I'm actually excited for this. I would not. First of all, as Indie Game Riot, we should be supporting. We should be supporting all endeavors for indie games.
As the award-winning editor, come on, like, have some more integrity than that. Like,
you don't know how the movie's going to go. It's not going to just be. It's not going to just be you sitting in a room jump scared.
And to be fair, I really did enjoy the movie Zombies, 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 which was literally zombie hookers versus strippers, a pimp, and one of the strippers' brothers. And the zombie strippers became zombie hookers, became zombies from zombie crystal meth. So
at the very least, they could.
Yeah, you're right.
At the very least, this will be a Netflix B movie.
Yes.
And that is also fun in its
And I
own
guess
way.
that's okay. I'm curious as how they're really going to adapt it. Because, I mean, the games
wouldn't that
are
be some
so
shit if
simple.
they actually did have you just the entire movie took place in that room?
No,
that'd be if it was good, I'd be impressed.
That would be pretty badass.
That'd
be awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that's like some 12 Angry Men shit right there.
I just feel like
just like one
Papers, Please
really
in movie
scared
form.
guy.
Yeah, but at the same time, like you have to think like where they're going with it, because this could go Home Alone really fast.
Oh, you mean like with sequels?
No.
What do you mean?
Like sort of. Okay,
the
I
whole
get
trap
it, but
thing?
it's definitely from the 80s.
What?
You know, like just that sort of like campy feel, but like everybody, like Gremlins. It could turn into Gremlins.
That's a complete. Why would you think this is going to turn into Gremlin? I mean,
No,
I guess
no. I mean, like the first in the series, like campy 80s. Like, yeah, it's scary, but then it could either go Gremlins or it could go Sharknado.
M. Night Shyamalan tapped his director, says salty in the chat.
Yes,
that would be. I don't know how I'd feel about that.
Hey,
Actually.
M. Night Shyamalan is a talented director who jumped the shark far too many times, far too long ago.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's not movie cast. So, yeah. So anyway,
exactly.
Five Nights at Freddy. First of all, this is, by the way, just so you know, this is so incredibly early in the process.
Yeah, this is like, hey, we're doing this.
Like, hey, we came up with this idea. They did tap producers already. The producers. You didn't mention producers? Right?
No, I did not. Not yet.
The producers, they do have. Not a pedigree. That's not the right word. A resume. Thank you.
I mean, it might have a pedigree. We don't know.
Roy Lee.
Dogs. I don't know.
Roy Lee. He's producing the new Poltergeist remake and Old Boy remake. I actually don't even know what that is, but the Poltergeist I do. And he also produced The Ring and The Grudge, the American versions.
Okay.
And Seth Grahame-Smith is the other one. Is another one he did Dark Shadows, which actually was kind of terrible, and Abraham Lincoln, which also was kind of bad. But
Abraham Lincoln or Abraham Lincoln Vampire
Hunter. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for clarifying. And
very important distinction.
yeah. I guess there was a movie, Abraham Lincoln. And then the last one was David Katzenberg, who is producing, but he is actually like his biggest known thing is writing for The Goldbergs, which is like a TV sitcom comedy thing. I don't know.
It was Yeah.
Goldbergs. Anyway, no, I have jokes that go through my head and they make me laugh, and no one else is like, "Why are you laughing?" So you know what should definitely happen because it already did. The Indie Box. You know, anyone who's listened to this show knows we love the Indie Box. We made friends with them back during Indie 3 when they just started up. They have been more and more successful and all that sort of stuff. First of all, every time we bring them up, I do want to always disclose that we have an affiliate link with them. So it does actually support us, and it supports Indie Box, and it supports the devs. So there is that, but that does not affect whatever we're talking about. It's just we're talking about fact.
It's just a thing.
There's a link to the Indie Box, and that is the affiliate link in the chat. So just so you know. And the news for this week about the Indie Box is that they are partnering with Humble Bundle. They actually have, you know how Humble Bundle, when they do bundles, a lot of times you can pay like $25, $30, whatever, for like actual swag instead of just games.
Yeah.
Does anyone use the word swag anymore?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just a few years late. So in this case, they have a Humble Weekly Bundle. There's currently about 5.5 days left on that. It's tabletop themed. It's video games, but it's all like tabletops games put into video game through Steam or whatever. And there's the link for the Humble Bundle in the chat. This time, the swag that they have, you can pay $32. You get all the games and all that sort of stuff. You get $32 for the Humble Bundle box. That's like their add-on to it. In that box, you'll get things like Humble Bundle playing cards. You get 5 6-sided dice with the Humble Bundle logo on it. There's going to be 2 different meeples that you get, I think. Is that what they're called? Meeples.
Meeples,
Sure.
Yeah. Well, it's like the generic, little icons for game boards. Anyway,
If you don't know what a meeple is, you don't game for board games, and that's fine.
I love board games. I just don't have the money or friends.
That's true.
And you also get 4 metal game tokens, much in the style of Monopoly. I actually think it's funny, so they wouldn't get sued. They said, where is it? They 4 metal game tokens in the style of that classic game where something as simple as a thimble can gain total control of the real estate industry. And actually, in the 4 that you get, you'll get Raz's hat and aviator goggles from Psychonauts.
Yeah! Oh my god!
I know, right?
You'll get Goo Ball from World of Goo, Bandage Girl from Super Meat Boy, and Yosef from Machinarium. Actually, that's the one I at least know, but that they actually did do. I think IndieBox did that game once. But anyway, so it's really cool. $32, that gets you all the games in that, so go check it out.
Yeah.
It supports a lot of people, and the Indie Box is cool. Go check them out. Support a lot of people. And you know what else supports a lot of people?
I was going to say, you know what else costs $32? Just kidding. It's free.
What's free?
We have an interview with
I thought you were trying to say... Go ahead.
But, I mean, if they
No.
want to give $32.
Yeah, I was going to say, they should
If
give
you-
$32.
$32
Or
to
more.
To Tess, or as we call her, ChicMonster or Chic, who you've been hearing throughout the show. She is currently running a Kickstarter campaign for her game Charmixy, which is a little bit hard to read, in my opinion. But it is a mobile game where you really... There's a lot of stuff that you can do in this game. So could you tell us what
Sure.
Just
you
kind of
have, what
in
you
your
do
own
in
words,
this game?
What is
Well,
Charmixy?
The idea for Charmixy was really, I played, what was it called? Space Team. There we go. That's what it was. I played Space Team on my mobile phone. I don't know if you
We
guys
just
have
talked
played
about
Space
Space Team last
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was such a blast, and I loved it so much. And I remember after the first time playing Space Team, it was like, oh my god, it's incredible that I just have this mobile phone with me that I can take anywhere and, like, have this really fun experience, but, like, you know, nobody's really utilizing that. Like, as far as I know, there's a lot of multiplayer games that are, like, really turn-based and stuff, but they don't kind of capture the, you know, let's sit together and let's play a game. You know,
Couch
like back,
gaming on mobile.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of DS stuff, but not everyone can afford a Nintendo DS or, you know, the latest games or anything. I know I definitely had that problem growing up. I had a very low income, but everybody's got a smartphone nowadays. And I just really wanted to make a game that had the feel of, a lot more people have a smartphone, I'll say this, than
I'm
a
poor.
Nintendo DS. So I just wanted to really make a game that was about, like, connecting people in a way that was really, really fun. You know, if you're in a line or you're sitting in a coffee shop or something, you take out the game and play it. So I started designing a game centered around that. And I was developing it for about a year, just kind of trying out a bunch of different weird ideas. I know I wanted something that had to do with, like, some sort of fantasy element. Like, the idea was that you and your friends would sort of go on this kind of quest and you'd have this kind of thing. And then I ended up with Charmixy. You know, I really liked magical girls. I really liked witches. I think around that time, this was probably a really big influence. God, what was it?
Harry Potter.
The guys who made Kill la Kill, they released a sort of like a 30-minute anime short about this girl who went to a witch academy. It's completely escaping me. I forget the name of it. But it was like School for Witches or something like that. Oh god, it'll come to me. But anyway, it was a fantastic little 30-minute short, and I had so much fun watching it. And I think from there was really the idea to be like, okay, well let's put it in a witch school. Let's do something kind of cute and feminine. You were talking about this earlier. I'm a huge feminist. I'm really, really into getting more women into gameplay and game development. And I'm kind of
by feminist though. I mean, do you mean like just empowering women? Because I just want to clarify for anyone who's still on that whole
craziness of what
pun not intended witch hunt from before.
Little Witch Academia, that's the one.
Yeah.
Thank you, Collins. I'm that's just
like
a mess.
I mean just saying like you're not saying like all men are pigs.
No, they're not.
Right.
But they could do to step aside and maybe let some more women get into their industries.
Well, I just wanted to clarify just so people don't get all pissed off at you. So.
No. I think men are great. Or at least good enough to date for now. So that's good.
All right.
So yeah, I am a feminist, and my thing is, what's really important to me is kind of just embracing that there is this really big hole in the industry. And I thought it was really curious when I first started making games that were really what you would call girly. There's a lot of traditionally feminine things. There's a lot of frills and magic and sparkles and things. But for whatever reason, if you make a game like that, it's either like it's really stupidly easy or something, and it's not fun usually. And then when I came to the game development community, I remember I made a post on Reddit. I had sort of like this manifesto and stuff, and saying like, you can still make really girly games. I'd like to play a game about shopping and fashion and boys, because when I was growing up, that was what I genuinely enjoyed, and I'd like it to be challenging. I'd like it to be, a game. And I got a lot of backlash from that, which was really surprising. Like, oh, you're being sexist. And I was like,
From like other,
well,
other girls?
No, from male developers.
Really?
Other girls were like, it's iffy, but I mean, if that's what you want to do, that was fine. So, I mean, they were supportive. They were a lot more supportive than I'd say a lot of the developers that I came to. And in fact, a lot of women who I was speaking to who weren't gamers were very enthusiastic. They would say, I would love that if someone came to it from, my perspective, or, I'm not into these very action-y things. I want something that has sort of this traditionally feminine touch. And that's, and so I wanted to make something like that. And that's really all those elements came together to make Charmixy. Sorry, that was really long-winded. So what Charmixy has become is it's a puzzle combat game. So it's kind of, I don't know if you've ever played Tetris Attack, but it has sort of
all that.
Yeah, like a lot of
Quest.
these puzzle quests very similar. Puzzles and Dragons is another one that people to mention.
Have you ever played Puzzle Pirates?
Puzzle Pirates, yes. Oh,
Yeah.
I was a huge
I played that in
fan.
college.
Oh, I was so into that. And I see influences from that, and I'm just like, I saw that, and I was like, Puzzle Pirates. All right. Okay, I can totally get behind this.
Yeah. So I now that I think of it, I must have been influenced by Puzzle Pirates because I love the shit out of that game.
Yeah.
So it's a puzzle combat game now. So basically, what you do is you have a set of charms, right? And what you do, you'll collect charms as you go through the game, and you'll be kind of building up this arsenal of weapons, I guess you could say. And within the puzzle combat kind of arena, there's these falling tiles. You match them up, and these elements will kind of combine together, and they'll power up your charms. And then once you have your charms, you use them for various effects. You can use them to kind of mess up your opponent's combos and things like that, or you can attack your opponent. Everybody has health, and you're just kind of trying to dwindle your opponent's health to 0. And that's how matches are. So we designed it so that you'd be able to sit down, basically, and, you'd have your charms that you'd collected, maybe, and your opponent would have their charms that they'd collected, and you'd go head-to-head. And you would fight each other with the puzzle combat. And it seemed like a solid idea, and that's what we were developing. So we wanted it to have a big, juicy story mode, so there would be characters that you could meet and interact with and fight with. I'd also say this probably took a lot of cues from Pokemon, because that was probably the only game that I had when I was growing up.
That's why I was. That's why I was thinking was when I started reading through your Kickstarter. I was like, there's a lot of game mechanics in here similar to Pokemon. I mean, not necessarily like
the gameplay is not like Pokemon at all, but the game feel is
Thank you.
is one for one. I'd say very much like Pokemon.
I mentioned, or not mentioned, I saw your stretch goals. Kind of jumping ahead here, but I saw your stretch goals, and you mentioned like there's like animal raising and seasonal and time-based events. The world in itself kind of reminds me a little bit of Pokemon, which, by the way, I got to stop you too. I'm impressed. At first glance, and I think a lot of people are, for whether it's right or wrong, at first glance, I saw this game and I was like, okay. The first thing I saw was like the puzzle battles, the block dropping. I was like, okay, well, that's fun. Nothing new. But then I started looking through your Kickstarter, and I was impressed with how deep of a game that you're making, just past that, and especially on a mobile platform. The world is really cool and deep, and the even outside of the puzzle battles and all that, you have like the customization. I cannot speak tonight. Customization and all that sort of stuff, and it just kind of envelops you into this world that you're creating. So it's really cool that you're doing it on such a small platform.
And not only that, but you plan on releasing this on mobile devices for free?
Yes, completely free.
That's also cool too.
Now here's the question. Are you going to try and make money off of this past Kickstarter?
Nope.
Okay.
Just
So no
free.
microtransactions at least planned, and
No
no
ads
in-game
or anything.
ads.
I mean, I just want to make like I said, going back to getting more women and people who don't normally play games or are intimidated by what games currently have to offer. I just wanted to just completely remove any and all barriers from somebody being like, I don't really want to play this game. It doesn't even cost money. Just put it on your phone and play it, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
And then play it with a friend. Like, it's that kind of a thing. So that's what I want to do. So, I mean, I still need to pay, the people who are working for me, obviously.
Right.
I mean, that's important to me. And so I'm giving about, I mean, you can see the cost breakdown in the Kickstarter, but, it's, frankly, the majority of the money is not even going to me. I get like $1,000. It's probably going to go back into production, to be honest. Because, I mean, I don't really need the money right now. Maybe someday I will. But right now, while I have the freedom to kind of do that kind of thing, I'd like to kind of get that going. And again, It's really, really important to me to just make a fun game that everyone can enjoy without having the fear of, being charged for microtransaction. Now, in the beginning, when we thought we could make it free to play, I just want to be, completely upfront and honest about this. There is a possibility that maybe if we, for whatever reason, we can't afford to do it completely free, and there would be microtransactions, we've come up with some, like, if you were to buy anything, it would be purely cosmetic. That's where I draw the line. It's not going to affect gameplay in any way. I 100% want everyone to play the game from start to finish without having to pay a cent if they don't want to or they don't need to. So it's going to be either purely cosmetic, and then we had another great idea, which I thought would actually be really fun, is like, say that, I mean, we have a dungeon portion. That's kind of where you go down to like grind and find new treasures and charms and things. That's where you go to level up, basically, is the dungeon. And we thought it would be cool if you could buy a dungeon key for your own phone, and then if a friend is with you who doesn't own the key, they could like jump in with you, and they could play the dungeon as long as they were linked up to you.
That'd be cool.
And that would be a really good social way for people to invest in the game if they wanted to. But again, that's not really planned, but it's a possibility. But I still want the game to be like completely free.
Yeah, that's there aren't a whole lot of games, especially with the amount of content that you're planning in this game, that
it's
are
not that much
actually
content.
free.
Actually, well, I mean, to be actually free, that is true. But I mean, for a mobile game, it's actually not that much content.
Well, there's a story to this, correct?
There is a story, but I mean, it's not like a huge sweeping thing. I mean,
here's the big question: does it have more content than Space Team?
Well, yes. I think even the basic game would probably have more content than space. What I mean is it doesn't take up a lot of space on your phone. Like that's what I feel is like a lot of people don't want to put like these big full games on the phone because they're like they don't think it'll be right for them. But you can. I mean, I know people put like emulators on their phones and just play like entire, they'll play like Rising Sun or something on their phone, like Secret of Mana, whatever. I mean, that's a whole game and they can play it pretty easily. Not that it works the exact same way, but I'm saying the phone is a great place to have if you actually want to do like this kind of bigger thing. We can do that for sure. Oh, there's a doggy.
No, it's a kitty.
Oh, it's a kitty. Never mind. I hate cats.
Yeah. Oh, I have 2 doggies.
All right, then you're okay. You're okay. It balances back out again.
Those of you in the recording tech as a cat.
Yeah, I have a cat. She apparently I didn't close my door good enough, and now she is interested in me either feeding her or letting her out. So she is going to be with us until that happens, which is okay.
So, let's see, what other things you have here? Local live multiplayer you're talking about, dueling with the blocks. Okay, so the other features too, brew potions. I mentioned customization. The story. If
I can just bring up customization really quick, because this has been kind of a big thing also. I know a lot of people have gotten excited about it, is you can customize your character, but we also, because it's been kind of a popular thing lately and, just maybe like a nice thing, we want to offer a lot of NPCs who are from a lot of different backgrounds, That's definitely been something that the community has been asking for a really long time. So we have people of lots of races, magical lineages, genders, gender sexuality, all these kinds of things. So everybody feels like they are represented in some form in this game. Mm-hmm. And even if they're not, we also wanted to offer a lot of customization options. So you can be any race, any gender, any sexual orientation that you want. Everyone in the game, most everyone in the game who's like a student or something, you can date, you can romance. So there's really not a lot of restrictions as to who you want to be in the game. And that's been a pretty popular feature. But it's kind of stuck there kind of in the middle of the Kickstarter, so I do like to bring it up when I can.
So you can, you mentioned like dating other students and things like that. So there's, on top of that, there's like a kind of like a little bit of an RPG element in there? Yeah,
like a little otome kind of minigame. Yeah. It's nothing deep, but it's just like a cute thing that I like. I'm super into like dating sims and stuff. I'll admit.
And see, it's that part of me that's just like, oh yeah, I played a game like that we talked about earlier.
Did you fuck a pigeon?
No. No, but it like there were parts of this game that in the Kickstarter that reminded me of RPG shooter Star Wish, which I'm not gonna get into, but yeah, I like the games that can bridge can add different gameplay elements from completely different types of games and work them in very well. Because, sometimes you're playing this one thing and you're like, okay, I get it. And then you can like go to another game to do that. But if it's all right there, you're like, oh, okay, I'm just going to stop doing this and start doing that over there. And, everyone has a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've played a lot of games where they'll have like this really interesting world and these great characters and be like, but I can't date them. We can't be friends. Like, what's the point? Why would you even put that character in front of me if we can't make out? Okay, and so that's just something that I wanted to.
Making out is pretty freaking awesome, I guess.
Making out is so great.
Yeah, especially when you have to work for it.
That's actually what we do after every show. So
yeah, we have like these like machines. We can't show them because they're like not appropriate, but they're this big.
They're not.
Big
it's not.
Can you imagine? These two beards.
Yeah.
Just kind of entwining.
Yeah, just wrapping around each other.
Stuck together like
the brown and orange.
Like two tweens with braces.
Like, yeah.
It's like a rom-com, but instead of like the lipstick on the collar, it's like the darker beard hair.
And see,
this is your beard.
This is what happens. We get rid of Rev. Rev, we didn't get rid of Rev. He just can't show up tonight.
Guys, don't tell him. We got rid of him. Not
by the way, Rev, you're fired.
Yeah. He can't hear it. So tell the people where they can find this, what they can search.
Well, first, I just want to mention before we do that, because this is on Kickstarter and it needs the funding. So
it really does. Please, God, give me money.
For the love of God, give her money to throw it at her like I don't know. Instead of going to the strip club, just throw it at her.
And no
instead.
matter what level you pledge, you get the game because it's free.
Exactly.
Everybody benefits if the Kickstarter seats.
And
just free, and everybody gets.
So, and if you do donate, you get things like access to a secretive blog where she talks about her plans to take over the world. You get your name in the credits. You get art. You get to beta test albums, romancing guides. You get design charm. That would be awesome.
Design and charm.
Because that's kind of like what whole
the,
Charmixy is based around, correct?
That's at the $80 level, so it's not actually that expensive.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you want to like do stuff like that, there's also a really fun. I mean, if you even want to splurge, like I think around the $200 level, we send you a small mini game, and it's going to be like a tiny little puzzle box. And when you open it inside, there'll be like an exclusive item that you can redeem in the game. So that'll be really fun.
That's kind of cool.
That would be cool.
So you get like a tiny game for paying more. So I mean, if you really want to pay for an exclusive game, you can. It's like a tiny little puzzle box.
And
I wanted to get people a physical box, but I couldn't. Couldn't afford that.
Yeah.
But digital boxes are more fun because you can do some weird stuff with it.
And just to mention some of your stretch goals too, if Bill Gates is listening and he's totally into Charmixy,
I know he's a fan of the show.
Exactly. Bill, come on, William, Billy.
Old Bill, old buddy, old pal.
It's the GatesMeister. Anyway,
William. Why don't you donate $5,000 so you can have your likeness on, or you can design your own.
And now you got to make Bill Gates into a character, so now you got to do it. Anyway, stretch goals, 20,000. You get classmates who grow with you. So what is that? That's like...
they get harder as the game goes on. We have a system in place. It's a really fantastic system that Salty and I worked on. And it's basically, we can essentially program a fighting personality into every character. So they can be afraid of certain moves, for example, or they can be really aggressive. Like we have one character, for example, Bailey Braxton. She's kind of like the school sports team. She's like the tomboy. She really likes to be into sports and go really fast. Things like that. Gotta go fast. So when you fight her in her playstyle, she will do a lot of moves that are not necessarily very damaging, but they're very quick. So, I mean, we kind of have this way to program personalities into the fighting style of all of the AI and the NPCs. So if we get the extra money, we'll be able to invest a little time into essentially getting them to grow so we can write maybe like 4 or 5 separate personalities at different intervals. So as you get stronger in the game, all the other characters in the game are getting stronger too. Like if you were in a classroom with students, they were growing alongside you.
Yeah.
That's story options.
And see, that's what I talk about when I mention a lot of game. Because no, it's not. It's not so many gigabytes, but it's like there's depth. That's
what I was
conflict.
talking about too, with like how it's kind of the world it envelops you into it, and how I was saying it was impressive for a mobile game to do that, and just things like that where your classmates growing with you, having that whole. I don't want to. I keep wanting to compare it to Harry Potter because that's the wizard thing that I know.
I don't think it's like Harry Potter.
Actually,
no. Just
we're going to send a lot of press emails to some Harry Potter fan sites. Somebody recommended that to us, and they're like, "Yeah, that's actually a really good idea. Yeah. Maybe they'd be into it."
But I mean, like talking about the students growing with you. I mean, imagine Harry Potter. He started off as this little bad acting kid, and then he grew up with Hermione and got cock-blocked. And so also 30,000 broom sport animal raising mini games. The animal, which is again adding more content to a pretty awesome game already. And then finally around 50,000, you would get seasonal and time-based events.
Yeah.
Which would be like so like I'm assuming like winter would create different themes and also maybe affect the battles differently.
In the winter it would snow, in the fall like the colors would change, and also there would be like like you said, a specific battle, maybe like a boss that would only appear at a certain time of year, or a certain event that would only appear at a certain
different
time of
charms, maybe even, or no?
Yeah,
you don't know that.
I mean, it was really
possibly,
possibly. I mean, like that's like adding like some additional extensive stuff later on down the line, which is totally possible. But yeah, but I mean, that's a lot of content. That's really just mostly content. I mean, because to make a charm is actually pretty easy. That's why we are offering it at such a low pledge level. It's really just one set of pixel art, and then you give us some rules, and then we play test it until it fits into the game. But when you're making a bunch of content, that costs a lot of money. That's like hours that you're sitting there drawing out, a thing and writing out a story for it. And that's what really costs the most money. The gameplay is actually pretty quick and easy to deliver. So that's why you get a lot of the gameplay for, the $15,000.
Yeah, Callum's in the chat says Charm DLC for $15. So there's your way of making money.
Yeah, exactly.
DLC on a mobile game.
So you can check this out on Kickstarter. You can just search Charmixy. That's CHARMIXY.
Witch Academy. Charmixy Witch Academy.
Yeah, you'll see it. It's the one with it's the one with the cute anime schoolgirls in the video.
Yeah.
So if this sounds like it's up your alley, definitely check it out. I promise the more you look into it, the more you will, realize that this isn't just a stupid, it's like, oh yeah, it's a mobile game with puzzles, buy it.
Well, I feel like mobile games are harder to get funded too, and I feel like because people look at it, okay, mobile game next, and they really shouldn't, because especially people on Kickstarter, I mean, obviously I'm sure there are people who are just trying to create clones or whatever, but you should look into it, because the mobile platform needs games like this. They need they need creativity, and they need deeper games instead of clones. So that's why you should fund things like this. And is there anything else that you want to let people know about, Cheek?
Oh gosh, just that I don't want to come off as being big-headed about this. I am pretty egotistical. People will tell you that about me, but. I'm not doing this for myself. I'm doing it because I really want to make a game that a lot of people can enjoy. And me and my team have put a lot of effort into this. My programmer has been going without a job for a while. And in California, which is kind of where mostly we're based, it's like you make $90,000 a year, and he's getting $75,000. I think that's not $75,000, $7,500. And that's just to pay his rent. We're not doing this to get rich. We're doing this because we love to make games, and we want to do something really special and really fun that everybody can enjoy.
Yeah.
If you don't really like anime schoolgirls or whatever, you might like the gameplay. We're putting a lot of effort into making it rich and, and fun. And if you're not really a gamer, maybe you'll like that it's got this kind of openness to it. We've put a lot of effort into making it really inclusive and putting story and other elements in there that, you might enjoy. So we want to make a game that's fun for a lot of people. And so it's really important that we get funded. So yeah, please kick us a few bucks if you can. Share it with people who you think you would be interested in it, and that would really mean a lot to us.
I do know that Rev, I think a lot of his people would be into this, so I'm assuming that they will be, if they haven't already, be jumping all over this. And for those of you, she was talking about here, gaming for the masses, inclusiveness and accessibility and everything like that.
Oh yeah, I should just really quickly. We also made the game colorblind friendly. So if you're colorblind and you're worried about tile games,
there you go, Rev. You monochromat freak.
Yeah. So I know that's an issue actually that a lot of people don't realize, is that those tile-based games that have a lot of color stuff can't play by colorblind people. So we've got some shapes in there and things to help people out as well. So awesome. Yes, I almost forgot about that.
And so the indie game, you guys, if you're listening to us, you probably like indie games. Even if you're not into this kind of game, I think it's still worth.
This is about as indie as it gets.
Not even that, just for the principle of the fact that they're creating a game that's free for everyone, no strings attached, and all that sort of stuff.
Not free to play, free,
and go kickstart it.
Do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on and give us money.
And so what you should be doing is what the game that we are going to be talking about next is doing, which is starting to riot.
This week on Starting to Riot, we are talking about the Spatials. The Spatials is a city I don't know if it would be a city management game, but it's a cross between a city building game and like Roller Coaster Tycoon.
It sort of has some
like
prison tycoon. Yeah, it is tycoony. Yeah,
tycoony. Is that did we just come up with a new
now,
genre?
Bam, tycoony.
Tycoony. Hop on that, Sheik. You're gonna
tycoon-like?
Copyright.
Tycoon-like.
Yeah. Fuck
Copyright
roguelikes.
Indie Game Riot. 2015.
We'll commission Sheik to make the next tycoon-like game. And anyway, Spatials. So first of all, I will say first, I will preface it with saying that I do really enjoy this game. I am especially fond of these kinds of games, the tycoon games and the city building games. I love those kinds of games. And this game, you mentioned this right before we started the segment.
Yeah.
I said, let's talk about it in the segment.
Yep.
It does not hold your hand
at
all. It gives you little pop-ups, little tutorial pop-ups, but you're like, okay. And
all
then...
right, and then you get it. And the other thing, like, and we're probably gonna start out being a little bit critical, but really there's a lot to talk about this game. But I started playing. I launched it up the first time. I'm playing. I'm doing the tutorial. Like, awesome tutorial. The tutorial kind of ends. I'm like, all right, cool. What's this? And I put down a spaceport. And then people start coming in and they're pissed. And I'm like, well, all I have is a storage room and some places where people could sleep. What do you want?
Let me tell you. Let me tell you something though. With that, okay. This first of all, when you go into different screens, it gives you these little pop-up tutorials. But that's really all it does. You have to figure out like how to do it, like how to play the game, so that you can win. And by the way, there is an end game to this. And that's the thing with this game. I think not only does it not hold your hand, but it's paced very, very slowly.
Yeah.
The farther you get into this game, the deeper it gets, and that's what happened with me. You were mentioning like the spaceport. You build like it's like in the game you can build different sections of your space hub.
Yeah, different rooms.
And the spaceport is one of them. And that's where visitors come. This is where the tycoon kind of part goes in. Visitors come in. They have certain needs that need to be fulfilled, and your spaceport better have it, or else they're going to be pissed. Like sleep and shower, or certain
amenities, shopping,
goods, shopping, food, things like that. So I actually played. I very much did like I explored. You can go explore planets. You can shoot things on those planets. You have little missions on those planets, and you can level up your officers, which are like the people that you control.
Yeah.
There's
the
by
people
the way
that build stuff.
Different classes. There's scientist, diplomat, strategist, doctor, and engineer.
Yeah.
They all have different skills, but they all can shoot things as well. I did that. I explored worlds. I bought resources. I built things, all that sort of stuff. I completed missions. And then when I was done with all that, I was like, so what else is there? And because I was stuck. I didn't have much money, and I didn't want to keep exploring worlds because first of all, I didn't want to blast through the game. Plus, it progressively gets harder as you unlock new galaxies and systems and all that sort of stuff. But when I built that visitors like docking port, first of all, I didn't do it in the beginning because I thought it was like the thing that I already had, like that thing that you start off with.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I don't need that. And then I was like looking around. I was like, wait a minute, this is different. So I put it down. I had enough money to build it, and I put it down. I was like, oh, it's actual visitors. And by the way, it starts off with humans, but apparently there are different races that will eventually come to visit you, depending on certain circumstances. And they came in, and then I started to realize, oh, it's like a tycoon kind of thing with as far as this part goes. There's a lot of things going on here. And you mentioned like they were pissed when you first got onto the thing.
Yeah.
What are you yawning for?
I'm sorry.
Bitch?
It's one.
But yeah, you start. They start off pissed.
Yep.
But what it is, they're always going to start off pissed.
Okay.
They get happy as they fulfill their needs, and they're like, "Oh, this place is actually pretty cool."
Right. But when you start out, like you only have 2 rooms.
They don't explain any of this. There is no tutorial for this part of the game, which is kind of weird to me.
Yeah.
But well, that's the thing. Like since I built it so much later, I had a bunch of things already.
That's true.
I had unlocked different rooms.
Yeah. But see, they didn't even tell me about the planetary stuff. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's no tutorial. Like you have to go to that screen.
Yeah, exactly. Well, see, I went to I was playing the game and I was like, okay, there are other tabs, and I go to this other tab and I'm like, okay, there's my crew. I don't know what to do. What's this? Oh, planets. I think that I shouldn't mess with the planets yet. What can I do back where they started me? I feel like I need to worry about this more, and it turns yeah. But the game plays very, very well.
Yeah, no, it is really fun.
Yeah.
It does get a little bit repetitive with going to planets.
Right.
Because when you go to a system, there's several planets that orbit us on. One of the planets is like already colonized, and that's where you can use your diplomats to either hire new officers or you put a diplomat in as an ambassador, and that will like allow you to harvest resources from the planets faster. And the resources go to your station. You can make more stuff on your station, which please the people, and it's a big cycle.
Yes.
So the game was thought out pretty well as far as that goes, but it gets a little repetitive when it comes to these planets that are just there to, like, as I guess you would say, side missions to kind of unlock the new resources.
Right.
But the actual mission planets that unlock the next galaxy or whatever, are more fun because they're different.
Yeah.
You're not just going around shooting stuff.
Here's the big question. So this game is $13 on Steam. Mm-hmm. That's not a whole lot of money.
I think it's worth $13.
I would say that even though it's very repetitive, I think that it's worth $13. Like there are other.
Well, it's only that one part that I think is repetitive, to be honest.
Right, exactly. And maybe someone will like that.
And again,
yeah.
Well, and again, I mentioned the pacing is slow, so as you go, maybe it won't be repetitive. It's just in the beginning it is, because that's all there is to do. As you unlock more stuff, maybe there'll be more things.
Yeah, I do get a sort of Nomoria vibe. I know we talked about that in like episode like 1 or 2. With like the building, but then the fighting and the combat and exploring, like that's just a whole nother level of game.
A lot of things going on.
Yeah, so I really think they thought out with like, okay, yeah, no, we understand that building this thing might get boring. Go out and explore. And I'm like, all right, cool, let's explore. So
well, I think one thing that I mentioned, like the price, I think is worth it, even as is. And I would say it is a complete game. It is a complete game because that's why we're doing on Starting to Riot. But I would say that it seems complete. However, I feel like there could still be more content, or maybe at least if there are more content, maybe it should be paced a little bit differently and added, and maybe they should expand on the end of the game.
Right.
Because in the beginning you're like, there's not a whole lot to do, and that's fine for like the first 20 minutes or so. But as you play, you get an hour, 2 hours in, you're like, okay, what happens now? Now, where I'm at now, I'm just starting to understand and starting to unlock more things and getting to see how all the different parts of the game interact with each other, the whole cause and effect of it. So it could just be that I need to keep playing, but I'm already like hours into it. So you need to have patience if you're going to play this game.
Definitely.
I can't go away from this video. So can you tell them the name of the developer and the builds and all that stuff, like
all right,
where they can play?
So this was developed by and published by Weird and Rye. That's the name of their company, Weird and Rye. Say that 5 times fast.
Also, link it in the live chat for those people.
Gotcha. I just need to do that now because I'm looking at a bunch of other stuff here. Sorry, I just had weird tabs
porn
pop
on
up.
The job.
Oh man,
you can
so unprofessional.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
what
do you think? What do you think of the game, Sheik? Just by watching, or just by taking a look at it?
Oh boy, I mean, I've never been much for like the broad thing. This seems like something that would probably bore me, but I would watch if it had like a good personality, someone playing it. I think it would be fun to watch. I do like to put on like the longer games kind of on to watch while I work or something like that. But I mean, it seems like they're putting a lot of stuff into it, which is great.
I also like how there is this there is this level of like there are certain things that you should and shouldn't do, but it's not like you have to make sure that this is near that and that is near this and they aren't walking super far or else.
Yeah, there's like, definitely a lot of kind of player can kind of insert their own agency, and I know there's a lot of people who would love to like not have their hand held and just kind of figure things out as they go, even if it's a little painful. I mean, that is definitely somebody's game boner right there for sure.
Yeah, and they do have
the thing. Yes, it's not something like hand holding should be used sparingly. I just think that maybe not necessarily holding hands, like telling.
It's because there's so much game.
I think there's just like. I feel like maybe we're missing something. Yeah. I feel like they should just point you like, here's some things that you can do.
I think that they need to have a section because they have this information out there. If you go on their website, they have a guide and they split all these guides up that are so much more detailed and so much more interesting.
I didn't even take a look at the guide. I didn't know that.
Well, exactly. And
that's become a thing lately where people kind of rely on the wiki more than the game to actually teach you. I'm not really I don't really support that.
I think that if there was just a little blurb, it's like that just said, now that you've built the 2 rooms that we told you to build, why don't you try exploring new planets to find new technologies, new planets? Click on the tab. I click on the tab, and if you're like, go to a new planet and do this, and you do that, it's like one game that did that very well was the late game in Spore, where they were like, hey, there's some stuff. Go here and maybe check this out.
And game, man.
And I know, there's a difference between telling your player what they have to do and sort of pushing them in the right direction and limiting their options. And here they've limited your options, but they also haven't limited your ability to fail miserably, which in some ways is okay. I would have rather maybe a more, if you'd call it hand-holding experience, a more hand-holding
I think it just needs more road signs.
Yes.
Not necessarily hand-holding. I think
tutorial,
people should be able to play this game however they want. I mean, that's the whole point of being.
Quick tips would be the best.
Yeah. They have some. It's just not enough.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I mean I played Starbound, and my friends and I love to complain about that game, even though it's a lot of fun. Is that game just doesn't know where to begin to tell people what to do. It's just like, this is how you craft tables.
That's
unless you're making coffee, in which case it's, this entirely is that we make a joke for it where it's like they'll just design a new UI for every little damn thing.
Yeah. Well, this luckily doesn't have those problems, and I really wanted to like Starbound. But give
it a couple years. Give Starbound a couple years before you get into that.
So it's definitely a lot of fun. You can check it out on thespatials.com or on Steam. Just search The Spatials. It's $13.99. It has it doesn't have any reviews. It does have reviews. The Steam page was lying to me. It has about 100 reviews. Everyone's really loving this game, and if you think you're going to love this game too, definitely check this game out. Obviously, we recommend it, and definitely before you start, like, read the guides on the website. We don't say that a lot, but this game really needs it. There's a lot of stuff that they just don't tell you about, but it's implemented very well.
Definitely my final verdict is definitely worth the price. Even with that, just got to be patient. That's all. Just be patient.
Yeah, exactly. You know what else you have to be patient with?
Well, it's certainly not Peep Show because
games that aren't out yet. Which would be the Peep Show.
Oh God.
Please give all your attention to Early Access.
And this week on Peep Show, we have something that, at least to me, was a lot more than it first seemed. We are talking about CrossCode, a game that is currently on Indiegogo and was first a free game on, Game Jolt? Right?
It was Game Jolt or Itch.io?
It was Game Jolt, Itch.io, one of those.
God, this video has a lot of lag.
Yeah.
Sorry.
This is it is a combat puzzle top-down game with, you play it. All right? Just
That's the review. Play it.
so I watched the video when you first started about this. I pulled up the video and I watched it. I'm like, oh, okay, it's one of those. And oh, cool, they have a free demo. And I played the web version, and they have gamepad and mouse and keyboard support. And there's semblance of story, and you start getting into the story, and the writing just is campy enough to pull me in. and then you get to the combat, and you're like, oh, okay, combat, it's click and punch. And then they're like, oh no, you need to dodge this attack. And I'm like, oh, dodge. So I do this button and D, and then I dodge away, and I'm like, oh. And then I start attacking the guy, and then I start dodging other attacks and just slashing up these guard bots first thing. And it was just so tight and smooth, and just all those good adjectives that you can use for a very well-programmed game. And I just felt, oh, this game feels so good.
Oh, like, yeah, I love those games.
When they say on their Indiegogo buttery smooth physics, they're not kidding. Like
this gameplay footage does not do it justice, just because I didn't realize how jittery this was going to get.
Yeah, it's just so. It's so fast paced to the point where, like, this isn't a mindless brawler anymore. Like, there are the mindless brawlers that everyone's played in the past, but this one is not a button masher. This one is real time, fast paced. You have to know what you're doing, and you're going to screw up because you're gonna misclick somewhere. And this is just oh man, oh, so good.
Oh man, oh.
Yeah, exactly. Like words, and the writing is really good, and the story is just so
I knew
cool.
Like this because it reminds me. I mean, it's not the same game, but it reminds me just in style of Star Wish, which you mentioned earlier.
A little bit, yeah. There are definitely RPG elements, and we haven't even gotten to the puzzles. Puzzles are turning into like this weird like gimmick thing, but the way that they're implemented is just so good. Like man, I'd be happy if this game just made me punch stuff. And then
you just go around and punching babies.
Yeah,
and shit.
Yeah, exactly. Just let me fight it.
Oh, you mean in the game?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
In the game. Like just let me punch stuff in the game. Like that's good enough.
I thought
they have to throw in like. No. Because you punch and shoot stuff in the game, and then you have puzzles and stuff, and it's just, it's so good. And it is the 16-bit style.
Do you think they're using RPG Maker?
Dude, this game runs so smooth it can't be RPG Maker.
Yeah, I mean, like it's in that style. That's why. But they use, like, if it is RPG Maker, they know how to use the shit out of it.
Yeah, it's the fact that I can't find the word RPG.
Game Maker is probably more likely. Yeah. That's the big juice engine.
They're not saying that it's made from Game Maker.
What are they saying?
I don't know what they're saying.
Oh, well, then how do you know?
Because I'm on their Indiegogo, and I'm control Fing. Like,
you're control Fing?
Yeah, control F, control find.
Jeez, you are
searching the
dominatrix.
So they're planning on they have a Windows demo available. They're planning on getting it out on Linux, Mac, and Steam soon, and then they also have a Wii U stretch goal. That's another big move that a lot of devs. Hello, Kitty. I didn't even realize that you were there. A lot of big companies are moving to the Wii U. That's pretty awesome. You can get it in English or German, which is kind of cool. They're also planning on adding more languages to the mix. Right now, they have raised €45,000, euros, of their €80,000 goal.
How many days left?
Yes, they have 16 days left.
So they're pretty on track then.
They are pretty on track, and for $15 or €15, sorry, I do the conversion. I really should, but do I have an Indiegogo account? Let's try. Let's see.
I think should. We did an Indiegogo.
I know, and it should convert. I guess it doesn't. That's bad. For €15, you get the game. For €25, you can beta test the game. When the beta tests come out, you also get the Steam key and the DRM free copy, which is awesome. There are a bunch of other goals, pledge levels, all the way up to $5,000. So if you seem like you really want to throw some money at a game, I mean, either you could go, we're talking about Kickstarter games this whole time.
For sure.
You throw money at this, but you also have the RPG elements are reminiscent of Final Fantasy X and I just want to say MechWarrior Online, because you have different the way that the art is just set up. You've got your belt and your boots and your helmet and your two arms with all the other different stuff, and then you have all the different you have the skill tree where you unlock different abilities or attributes the more you level up. There are a bunch of different elements that you can do with this that you can use throughout this game. The soundtrack's really good, and at 90,000 euros, if the first stretch goal is a new game plus. So once you beat the game, that's the new cool thing. You get to play a faster, harder, crazier.
I want to point out too that in the chat, who was it? Callan's mentioned that 16-bit is starting to be a little kind of signature for indie games. I feel like we talked about this before in another episode. But
I think we talked about this with Jay Tholen.
Maybe, because he's, by the way, Joe Tholen, awesome indie artist. Check him out. He's Dropsy the Clown.
Dropsy the Clown.
But I don't think. I mean, I think it does go hand in hand. I don't think it's a bad thing, because there are legit reasons for indie games using pixels. One, because
everything uses pixels.
Pixels, when done well, are very nice. It's not because they're lazy. A lot of times too, it's that they don't necessarily have an artist who can do more than pixels. That's only sometimes.
Well, but see that I feel like you saying that is taking away from pixel art being because it's not just it's pixel art. It's it's art just at a lower resolution.
But I'm saying is I'm not. It does sound like I'm kind of talking down on pixel art, but at the same time, pixel art is a little bit easier to
do than 3D animation.
Or even 2D, because I mean, for me as an example, to kind of dig myself out of this hole, I can't draw for shit, but I think in a pixel art, if I had a good program that allowed me to use the mouse, just to put it in boxes, it's not so much. I don't think it's so much my perception of what I'm drawing, because you kind of have to have that. It's like a mind's eye kind of thing. And I don't know if I'm anywhere near this. She, is the artist, that she would know. But at the same time, it's because I physically don't have it in me. I just can't draw.
Right.
I'm here doing these motions and no one can see me. But
how about let's bring this up as another point of view.
But at the same time, Chic, as an example, you can draw well.
I can 100% answer this question.
Okay, go ahead. Do it.
Pixel art. When you do hand-drawn art, it's a lot more time and effort for something that doesn't look as clean and tidy as pixel art does. Mm-hmm. Because when you do hand-drawn art, it's very much like a gestural kind of thing. But pixel art, it's very easy to tile. It's very easy to replicate. It's very easy to do a palette swap. Just a lot of really important and technical things. And also, it doesn't take up a lot of space, which is very important.
I was going to bring that up. I bet you that anybody could play this. Anybody could run this game. If you have an old Pentium 4 with 2 gigs of RAM, maybe not. I'm not saying that, but really the
limited resources is what I was getting at.
Exactly.
That indie devs have limited resources.
But even still, they managed to pack in freaking amazing animations into this game, and it plays really damn quick.
Pixel art can be damn beautiful too, because I mentioned Jay Fallon. His is like water art almost.
Exactly.
Water painting. It's
and we even talked about games like Poncho with
Poncho was nice.
Just, you look at these resolutions.
Gods Will Be Watching. I mean, that's how like you said, a few hundred pixels on screen.
Yeah, exactly.
But it still looks fantastic.
Yeah, definitely.
It is, yeah. So to answer the chat, it is. He was saying is it a design choice or just tradition? It's 100% a design choice. I mean, even if you're saying I'm doing this for tradition, that's a design choice because it will influence a lot of things. Take for example, Shovel Knight, who specifically was like, okay, we're gonna make it.
Excuse the Spanish on screen, by the way. Anyway, go ahead. It's YouTube.
Yeah, the Shovel Knight was very much, we're going to make this based off of something traditional. I mean,
yeah.
And then they designed the entire game around that. They used a limited color palette. They did a lot of stuff, just to kind of call back to that. But it was still a game on its own merit. And you'll see that if it's a game that's like trying to get too gimmicky with nostalgia or whatever, it'll just be a bad game. And that won't really have to do with the fact that it's trying to appeal to nostalgia. It'll just be that it's a bad game.
And I also feel like the sort of age of nostalgia sort of like falling away from us. Because, but like...
Axiom Verge just came out, and that is like Metroid.
Okay,
that is what that is.
Well, I mean, like with a lot of the games,
and it's a fantastic game,
right? With the games that we've been talking about, it's like, yeah, okay, it's 16-bit SNES style graphics, but like we're talking pretty, like really fun gameplay that you wouldn't be able to get on a SNES. Like they're not trying to pander to the hey guys, look, it's retro. My god,
that's what I think Sheik was saying. I mean,
exactly.
Retro is one thing, and it's. If you're doing something just to be retro and that is it, like just to get the nostalgia points, there better be something. There better be something added onto that to make it stand out. Because if you're just like, here's a clone of a game that used to be a thing.
This game looks like what was that? What's that game where it's a side scroller and you can shoot in multiple different directions and you get into the tank and there are a bunch of guys shooting at you. You know what I'm talking about? Metal Slug. Yeah, like Metal Slug looks so far ahead of its time. Like it's such a beautiful game. You don't even think like, oh yeah, those are really cool retro graphics. Like that's exactly what it looked like. When I look at this, I don't think, oh yeah, that looks like a game that I played on SNES. It's like, no, this looks like a game that just happened to be stylized with a lower resolution. And that's the choice that they made, and I think they made a good choice because it just looks so cool. And on top of that, it's not just pixels. You have like very well drawn art for like the characters.
You mentioned animations. Animations play a big part in pixel games, I think, because I mean that's first of all, animations are hard to do.
Well, what's really great about pixel art is, I mean, there's a lot of hand drawn pixel art where you'll like be I'm going to draw this sprite, then this sprite, then this sprite, then this sprite. Right. But probably a good portion of pixel games today, or that use a pixel theme, is their stuff is not hand-drawn. They just have like a handful of pixel particles that are really interesting, and then they will program them, in some specific way to give it like this. I mean, so they're really not... They're taking it in a lot of new directions. And again, to answer the person in the chat, let me see, I get the pixel art is cleaner and faster. It's starting to get to the point where non-pixel games are the exception, not the standard. It seems a little strange to me that pixel theme, something made to be different, is now the norm. Just to bring it up again, it's a design choice. For a really long time, we had pixel art made by developers, and then it was all about, let's improve the graphics. And it became the era of AAA. And, those kinds of games. And of course they wanted to distance themselves from pixel art because, they had the money and the power to do something different. Now the indies are getting into it and they're starting from square one. And these are the tools that they have to work with. So it's not a pixel theme. It's definitely a design decision. If it seems weird to you, it's because more indies are making games and pixel art is just the way to go.
And let me just also say that... Okay, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, mentioning about them starting at square one, and I mean there are games. I mean, we talked about Virtus the other week, and
Unreal.
That looks like a freaking AAA game.
Oh god!
But
huge boner for that game.
First of all, you got to know how to optimize if you're going to do that. That's why we were mentioning, because indie devs have less resources,
right.
And then
absolutely,
and then on top of that. Not everyone necessarily has that skill. So they might be an awesome designer as far as the game goes. They might be an awesome programmer, but they might not be able to render 3D. Like they might not be a 3D artist. They don't know how to use Blender.
And I really just have to say that the way that they are using the pixels that they have on the screen. I know we're sitting on the art for a long time, but damn, this is a beautiful game. Like the way that they are using the art assets on the screen isn't just like your normal, like, oh yeah, everything's a box. It's like, no, there's a lot of 3D space happening, especially with like the puzzles, and the art doesn't look like big splotchy pixels. Like it looks smooth, like a really good game made in a lower resolution should. It's just that, you know, you can sometimes see like, oh yeah, that's sort of a low resolution. This is pixel art. I'm not big on the pixel art games. Like, no, shut up. This game looks good. This isn't your grandfather's Atari 2600, even though a lot of people
who's CrossCode by the way?
CrossCode is by, where are you? Where is it?
Come on.
It's Felix Klein for I want to see more details on here. It is Radical Fish Games.
There you go.
Facebook.com/Radical Fish Games. Radical Fish Games on Twitter. They also have a YouTube on this by the same name, or you go to cross-code.com. We already talked about all the pledge levels. I might be pledging.
You know what else is radical?
What's radical, man?
Free fun. Free fun is radical. Free fun. That's what I'm saying. Free fun is radical. God damn it. Free fun.
Is this a transition?
Yeah.
It is a transition. Free fun.
Right.
Damn it, Josh.
Shut up. Free fun. Shut up.
Much.
Shut up.
I hate you so much. This game looks so cool.
Shut up. Free fun. Free fun this week. We're talking about Circle of Fifths. I don't have any gameplay footage of this because no one wanted to put gameplay footage on YouTube. And that's how we get our gameplay on live stream and therefore the recording. So sorry about that. You're just going to have to look at my face. Don't look at Tech's face. Yeah, just mine. But anyway, Circle of Fifths is a rhythm brawler set in the 1920s New Orleans backdrop, I guess you could say. Basically,
you are not from the South.
What does that mean?
It's New Orleans. It's not
New
New
Orleans.
Yeah, it's New Orleans.
Let's
New
go
Orleans.
down to New Orleans.
Nolans.
Anyway.
1920 Nolans.
It's okay.
Nolans sounds like a upscale department store.
You're playing as these street hoodlum musicians who battle like street battle style, like in those dance movies, but instead of that, it's jazz. You battle rival bands to recover stolen money. Don't ask me how it got stolen. I don't know. But your band has style. This is according to the. It's on Game Jolt, by the way. Link that in the chat. There you go. There you go. People, have at that. But your band has style, and you can't just go around beating up people. So basically, the rhythm part comes into there because you have to do everything to the beat. You're a jazz band, and when you fight, you got to do it to the jazz beat. Not saying skitty that bop boop pop. What I don't know. I don't know what's that. I just physically pained Chic right there.
Yeah, I just feel like someone punched me in the gut, like, but there's no one here, so
all the way from Nolans.
You're scatting.
It's New Orleans.
Sorry, my scat smells. I mean,
skip it about New Orleans.
Oh my god!
But I thought, first of all, I think that for a free fun game, it's always really good because free fun is free. But it's standard pixel style. I think this one, we were talking about pixels in the last segment. This one might be a little bit less artistically talented, but that doesn't take away from the actual game. I really like rhythm games. First of all, and this isn't a rhythm game that you necessarily need to, because a lot of them kind of rely on like the color cues and things like that. So if you're Rev and you have monochromatic,
you can't see colors.
You can't see colors. I cannot talk today. If you're a monochromat or something like that, you don't have to worry about it. It's just same color every time, so you'll know what it is. And if you're good, if you got the beat, you're good. Not saying.
Oh.
When you're a jet, that's a different genre altogether. I won't even.
I
Were you just
got
about to
it.
swing?
No, I was Broadway, man.
Broadway.
Yeah. What's that story, bro?
Yeah, dude.
We should find
Barely
another.
we roll along, bro.
We should, bro. We should find another podcast and we can fight them.
Yeah, fight them with sort of Broadway jazz. Okay, all right. You know what else is surprisingly lacking in Oh, and if we talked about where you can Game Jolt, link in the description.
Game Jolt, and is by Sarah Zelenak.
Yeah.
Good job,
So
Sarah.
you know
For
what
Windows
else?
and Mac.
Yes. You know what?
It's free.
It's free, and you know what else is free? The
Not
fact
your
that
face.
no. Well, I mean, I do free samples, ladies.
So end of the show.
Not really.
This is the end of the show. All good things must come to an end. Thank you for actually ending that. I was trying to see how long I could string you along, but then you just ruined it.
Yeah, no. Fuck
End of the show. Just to remind you all that we do have a Patreon. If you want to support us, you like what we do, and help us help other indie game devs, we have a lot of really big goals to help Indie Game Riot move forward and expand and grow and all that sort of stuff. So please go check out the Indie Game Riot Patreon, patreon.com/IndieGameRiot, and consider supporting us. If you are a game dev or know someone who is, or anyone that has to do with making a game, like ChicMonster.
Ew.
I pointed over there, but it's just her drawing. If you are like her and you want to be featured on the show, just drop us a line. There's plenty of ways to contact us, or you can just keep up to date with us stuff and chat with us and all that sort of stuff. You can find us on, first of all, for those of you in the live stream, we always have edited versions on our website, indiegameriot.com. Those of you listening to the recorded version, you can get all the nonsense in between. I thought you laughed, and then I realized you sneezed. Bless you.
That was fast
or
deduction. I didn't even pick that up.
So where that totally threw me off. Jeez, Chic, it's your. I mean, Rev.
Sorry.
Yeah, Rev. Girl Rev.
Stop making me sneeze, Rev.
God, she's allergic to your bullshit. Oh yeah. So if you're listening to the recorded version, you can check us, hear all our shenanigans in between segments on the live stream, which is hitbox.tv/JaShinYa. Find us on Twitter at IGR Podcast or Facebook.com/IGR Podcast. And of course, you can always email us traditionally, or you can send us snail mail, even though the address isn't out there. But email contact@IndieGameRiot.com. And finally, the website is, take it away. I swear to God, if you said that, we're IndieGameRiot.com.
IndieGameRiot.com.
So
yes, it's an awesome site, cool articles and stuff. Make sure to check it out.
Any last words, lady and gentlemen?
There were cool games that we talked about this week. It's every week, but it's like, man.
Every week makes me excited. I have
the
indiest of boners, and for every game that we talked about, that's why we put it on the show.
Exactly.
And, thank you, Chic, for coming on the show and talking about Charmixy. Go, again, support that on Kickstarter. And
thanks for having me.
You are awesome. We'd love to have you on just to chill out and chat and podcast
I expect
sometime.
I will probably come on another time, but probably not when I'm so busy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, really.
Understood. And keep us up to date with what's going on with Charmixy.
For sure. I'll let you know when we become Angry Birds famous. And
you'll remember the little people.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I remember all the people who helped me get here.
Yeah, all the 200 people on your mailing list.
Not Rev. Wasn't here for me.
Yeah.
Prick.
Yeah, Rev doesn't get this. Doesn't get the invite.
Yeah.
Well, say your goodbyes.
See you next time, guys.
Your goodbyes. Thank you. Toodles.